Let's work on some age and time word problems. This format of word problems appears often on the exam, so it's well worth practicing and getting to know. For example, Max is now 20 years old. In 8 years, he'll be twice as old as his brother is then. How old is Max's brother now? Well, okay, so right now let's record the information we know. Max is 20 right now. In 8 years, he'll be twice as old as his brother. So what exactly does that mean? How do we translate that into an equation or an expression? Max's age in 8 years will be m plus 8. We know, of course, that's 28. And that will be, that's the equivalent to equals, twice as old as his brother. We'll denote B as his brother's age now. So Max will be twice as old as his brother. So he'll be 2 times his brother's age then, which means in 8 years. So again, his brother in 8 years will be B plus 8 years. Both of them are 8 years older. So that forms the equation provided by this sentence in the word problem. M plus 8 equals 2 times B plus 8. And of course we have the value for M, it's 20, so I can substitute that back in. 20 plus 8 equals 2 times B plus 8. And I know that's 28 equals 2 times B, 2B, plus 2 times 8, which is plus 16. Now I can subtract the constant value on the side with my variable, so I'll subtract 16 from both sides. And I'll end up with 28 minus 16 is 12. Equals 16 minus 16 cancels to 0. So I'll just end up with 2b on the right side. 2b equals 12. And of course, if I divide both sides by 2, I will end up with b equals 12 divided by 2, or 6 years old. And of course, I'll reread the question, always a good tip. Just to make sure you're answering the question asked, how old is Max's brother now? And B, by definition, we said is his brother's age now. In 8 years, he's 14, but right now, Max's brother is 6 years old. And that's the answer to the question. When Larry was 14, his father was 37 years old. Now that Larry's father is twice as old, how old is Larry? Well, we know today Larry is not 14. That was in the past. So we know some years have passed, and we'll call that X. X equals the number of years that have passed. And if Larry is X years older than 14, we know the father, who will represent by F, he must be X years older than 37 as well. So the father must be 37 plus X years old. So these are their 2 ages today. And we know today his father is twice as old as Larry. So the father's age equals 2 times Larry's age. Or substituting in, we know the father's 37 plus X, and that equals 2 times 14 plus X. So multiplying that through, 2 times 14 is 28, plus 2 times X is plus 2X, and I know 37 plus X equals 28 plus 2X. So I'm going to subtract X from both sides to isolate X on my right side. And that becomes 37. That's 0. Those cancel. 37 equals 28 plus 2X minus X is X. So in turn, I can rewrite that the other direction. X plus 28 equals 37. I'll subtract 28 from both sides. And the result will be that cancels. X equals 37 minus 28 is 9. So X is 9 years that have passed, and that makes Larry's age, which is what the question is asking. Larry's age equals 14 plus 9 years, which is 23 years old. And that's how old Larry is today. And let's just double check that his father is twice as old. His father would be 37 plus 9, which equals 46. And lo and behold, 46 is 2 times 23. So that problem checks out. Letitia is X years old and Judan is 2 years older. In terms of X, how old was Judan 3 years ago? Well, Letitia's age, L, will represent as X. Letitia is or equals X years old. And Judan, we'll call that XD, is 2 years older. So actually it's 2 years older than Letitia, L plus 2, which we also know by substitution is X plus 2 years old. In terms of X, how old was Judan 3 years ago? Well, 3 years ago, Judan was 3 years younger than she is today, or minus 3. So in terms of X, that would be X plus 2 minus 3. And that turns out to be X minus 1. Minus 3 plus 2 is minus 1. And that's how old Judan was 3 years ago. Dan's mom is 3 less than 4 times her son's age. If M is the mother's age, what is Dan's age in terms of M? So Dan's mom is 3 less than 4 times Dan's age, effectively. So 4 times Dan's age, if we define D to equal Dan's age in years, 4 times Dan's age is going to be 4D. We want 3 less than that, so it's 4D minus 3, and that equals the mom's age, which we are denoting as M. So our equation from the first sentence becomes 4D minus 3 equals M. So what is Dan's age in terms of M? That essentially means we want to solve for D, Dan's age. So let's try and do that. I'm going to add 3 to both sides to get the constant term away from the variable D on the left side. And of course, those will cancel. I'll just be left with 4D equals M plus 3. Now I want to divide by my coefficient of the variable 4 on both sides. That cancels to be 1D, and D equals M plus 3 over 4. And that is Dan's age in terms of M. At 7 a.m., the temperature was 10 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. The temperature rose 2 degrees per hour for 7 hours. What was the temperature at 1 p.m.? Well, the first thing is not to be fooled by these 7 hours. The temperature at 1 p.m. is 1 p.m. minus 7 a.m. equals a total difference of 6 hours, not 7 hours. So don't multiply the 2 degree change by 7 hours. It's only 6 hours worth of changes greater. So 6 hours times 2 degrees per hour equals plus 12 degrees higher than our starting point. And our starting point we know at 7 a.m. was minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll have minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit plus 12 degrees equals plus 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So the temperature at 1 p.m. is 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Judy begins the first of 5 8-hour shifts at 9 a.m. She alternates shifts with David. At what time does Judy finish her third shift? Well, Judy starts at 9 a.m. and then we have David's shift, and then Judy's shift, and then David's shift, and then Judy's shift. So we know there are 5 shifts. Each is 8 hours, so it's going to be 8 times 5 equals 40 hours. And Judy's third shift is at the end of all 5. So the time here will be 40 hours later. We know 48 hours later is the same time, 9 a.m., but 2 days later. 40 hours later is 8 less than 9 a.m. So it must be 9 a.m. minus 8 hours versus, an even 2-day period to 9 a.m. And that in turn equals 1 a.m. So Judy finishes her third shift, the end of 5 total shifts, at 1 a.m.
We'll do about